And here I thought it was going to be a regular old Friday. But with Arrowhead back in the office after holiday, today turned out to be anything but ordinary. We've got a new in-game event we need to talk about, a delay announcement, and of course, I've got some thoughts on all of it. In case you want to help support the channel, you know what to do. And don't forget to ring the notifications bell so you never miss one of my future upload alerts. So stick around and buckle up as we dive into the latest from Helldivers. Alright, as we jump around the galactic map, it seems that things are progressing nicely, with our current task to hold 3 adjacent planets, while we vote on and deploy the Star of Peace to fire on at least one of these. Up in Automaton territory, we currently hold Lasath, which is necessary should we want to obliterate Penta. Over in Bug territory, Nivelle 43 has started the process of being liberated, and while the resistance there is currently showing 1.5%, it would go quite a bit faster if we had more divers there, and of course, if we coupled that with a lower percentage. And finally, in Illuminate territory, we still hold a Foyer Bay, which is where we can stage the attack on Valmox if that's where we decide to go. Current diver forces are massing on Nivelle 43, with just over 51% of those logged on diving on that planet. But in order to make real progress there, we need more active divers to choose Nivelle 43. Outside of there, we received several transmissions from Arrowhead HQ earlier today. The first of these started off like this. It said, "Star of Peace voting has begun. Helldivers are advised to access the Democracy Space Station voting panel from the galactic map. Helldivers may vote a single time. If the chosen planet is not a strategically viable location at the time of firing, i.e. if no planet adjacent to the targeted planet is held by Super Earth, the second highest voted planet will be targeted instead." And it's important out there, divers, that you know what's going on and is mentioned here in this announcement. And it's the point about the alternate test sites. What this is saying is that, for instance, if we voted to nuke Valmox, and that was the planet with the most votes, and we did not control an adjacent planet to Valmox, this would mean we would have no planet to attack Valmox from, so the vote would be disqualified, and the test fire planet would then default to our second choice. Now, for those of you wanting to know where and how to vote for the Star of Peace test fire planet, you can find it on the location tab of your Democracy Space Station HUD. There, you would normally vote to send a DSS, say, to a standard planet, but for right now, you will see just Penta, Valmox, and Zagon Prime, along with the current voting percentages. But can I just say that after all the work we put into farming for E711 and the news broadcast about the Star of Peace, its capabilities, and just how much of a freaking big deal it is, seeing it in-game this morning left me asking, that's it? This thing is capable of destroying an entire planet, turning it into a black hole, and is democratically voted on by the player base. And the best the studio could do was muster up this 3-option voting tab. There's no fancy terminals on our ships where we can vote. There's nothing showing off the charge meter, or really anything. I expected to log on today once voting had gone live to see something new, exciting, and unique once I made it onto my Super Destroyer, and that moment just fell flat. Also, I think that showing the vote percentages takes away most of the suspense when it comes down to the Star of Peace. And if that could be removed and the final test fire planet is kept secret until the DSS jumps to that planet and sets it ablaze, that would at least make it somewhat more interesting. I just hope Arrowhead has something more substantial for the moment when it happens, because I, like many of you, remember how we built up to the Meridia wormhole colliding with Angel's Venture, and the moment it did happen, it was basically an in-game JPEG and nothing more. But without a doubt, the massive news today came about an hour ago, again from Arrowhead HQ. Here's what it said. During final testing for the Warbond, we found a key issue that didn't meet our standards for a release. We're taking some extra time to get it fixed, so the Redacted Regiment Warbond is going to be delayed. We're sorry for the change in plans, but we want to make sure the update is actually ready for you before it goes live. Thanks for the patience. Now, I did some digging around in the Helldivers Discord for any mention of the delay and any reasoning for the delay, and I did find this response from community manager Baskinator, who responded to a member's question about, again, why there was a delay. Her response reads, "I'm not able to give the reason right now, but we do know what it is." So apparently Arrowhead knows the reason and is working on it, which I guess is good news. And can we take just a minute to mention the circumstances for this? I mean, we have never seen a delay on a Warbond last minute for something that wasn't up to scratch. I could be wrong here, but in the 2 years Helldivers has been live, I don't remember that ever happening. Of course, speculation about the reasons behind the delay immediately started popping up. Everything from how Arrowhead was struggling getting the new armor passive to work on higher levels, to the point by this member stating that it was down to Arrowhead finally discovering that stealth doesn't work. Personally, I don't give a damn what the reasoning is. You know what I'm saying? Make this sucker right. Cook that Warbond, test it, cook it some more, do whatever needs doing as a studio, because delivering a stealth-centric Warbond to players knowing full well that it's broken and busted ahead of time, or that stealth and suppressors were broken as hell, is exactly what we do not want as a player base. My hopes are that Arrowhead finally turned on their studio monitors, watched some of the community testing videos and footage showing that stealth and suppressed weapons had zero effects, and that based on our testing results, they decided to dive into the game files and to finally make this thing right. Of course, I may be seriously huffing the hopium here. I admit it. This could all be down to some stupid graphical issue, clipping weapons, some certification thing, or, something else. So I'm flying blind here. But the news is, somewhere, somehow, Arrowhead found enough of a busted something or other that they decided to hold off and indefinitely delay Redacted Regiment. But here's where you get to sound off by dropping a comment. Post your best theory about why Redacted Regiment was delayed, and just to whet your imagination, I'll randomly pick a couple of comments down there and pass along some super credits as a thanks. How about that? Remember to hit subscribe and ring the notifications bell to receive my future upload alerts. A massive and heartfelt thanks goes out to all of our current channel members, for without your awesome support, content like this would not be possible. Until the next one, this is LtBuzzLitebeer, signing off.